What if I told you that every freelancer has the potential to make at least 100 grand a year? And what if I told you that you only need 3 or 4 clients to hit that goal? You might think I'm crazy, and I probably would have too at one point, but then it happened in my business. Last year, I worked with the same handful of clients and I made a little over 100 grand. And I know this isn't a fluke because I've actually been using this model for the last 5 years. And I've seen freelancers doing this successfully in just about every niche. So I'm going to walk you through this 6-figure freelancing system. But first, I wanted to point out that 6 figures sounds really cool and it looks good in the headline, but it's really more about what that number represents. For me, 100 grand a year is the baseline that allows me to have more freedom and flexibility and live a life in alignment with my values. Now, I admittedly live a very simple life, but there are freelancers using this same exact approach to make way more money than me, and also some who make less. Ultimately, you can adjust it to your goals and the kind of life that you want, and that's what I love about it. And this system is a flywheel, meaning that everything that you do to set it up is going to be putting energy into it and building momentum. So this is different from a funnel where you put energy in and everything drops out the bottom and then you have to start all over again, which is what a lot of freelancers end up doing. But that is exhausting and that's not sustainable for a one-person business. So to get this flywheel started, you need to give it some initial fuel, and that comes in the form of your skills. Now, you may know exactly which skill or set of skills you want to leverage and take into your freelance business. But if you've done a lot of things or you're just feeling a little bit muddy about it, you can do what I call a skill inventory. And this is just where you write down all of your skills, brain dump it out, and everything that you have experience with, and then go through and circle the things where you know are the strongest. Now, your skills obviously are very important. None of this would be possible without your skills. But the mistake that a lot of freelancers make is they try to sell their skills. And so that usually looks like them, going out pitching and being like, okay, I can edit videos, I can, create social media content, like, let's do this. Well, that's not ready for any client to invest in, not really anyway. Maybe some people who do just want to task you out with things. But remember, we're trying to make 100 grand a year. We're trying to build a sustainable business. That's not going to be sustainable. So you need to turn your skills into a service. And I like to think of this as your signature service because it's the thing that you're going to sell over and over and over again. So this is the thing that you are going to be known for. And this should be a high ticket service. And what makes it high ticket, there's no hard and fast cap or rule about how much it has to be, but generally anything that's over around $1,000 is going to be considered high ticket by most people. But if your goal is $100,000 a year, 6 figures, that breaks down to $8,333 per month. And that means that you would need to have 8 clients, give or take. Some months you would even need to have more to hit that goal. And that may not sound like a lot, but if you have actually gone out and landed some clients, you know how much energy it takes to land a client. And not only to get them to, want to work with you, but there's also a cost that comes with each client. That's something that I've learned on this journey. It's not just getting the client, it's also all of the admin that goes along with that and all the communication with that client. So for a lot of freelancers, 8 clients probably isn't going to be sustainable, at least not long term. That's why I like to aim for around $2,000 a month or even higher. And certainly, some niches and some areas of expertise, you can go much higher than that. My services are generally in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So that allows me to hit my income goal while only having a few clients. Now, this is really important. Your high ticket service is not based on an hourly rate. There are actually 5 ways to structure your pricing for high ticket services, and I break them all down in my 6-figure pricing models guide, which you can grab for free in the link down in the description. Now, here's the other key piece. This is a high ticket retainer service. So you are creating essentially a monthly subscription to your services so that when clients sign on, they work with you long term. That means you don't have to find new clients all the time. This is how I've been able to work with the same handful of clients and not have any income gaps for the last 5 years. And because you want your business to feel stable and sustainable, you want to sell a high ticket retainer that people already buy. So this is something that is essential for their business. It's not a hard sell. You don't really have to push to sell it because they already know that they need it. This is why I sell marketing services to e-commerce brands. I'm not saying that's the only profitable way to go about this, definitely not. I'm just giving the example that because I am a marketer, I am focused on helping e-commerce brands with their marketing because they need this type of support every single month. Basically, if they shut off their marketing, their business would shut down. So you've got your skills and your goal is to figure out what retainer you can offer with those skills. And your next step is to figure out who you're going to be selling this to. In other words, who is your ideal client? And I already gave a big clue in that I said that you need to be looking for, something that businesses are buying all the time, that they always need, that's essential. So what are the businesses who see your service as essential? And you're looking for the businesses that already have a healthy budget for it. This is how you avoid super low budget nightmare clients is you bring an offer to the table, you bring an essential offer to the table for the businesses that really need it and that already have a budget for it. Now, looking for the types of businesses that need your service and your skills could still bring you to a pretty vast place, could be multiple industries, multiple verticals. So from here, you do need to do a little bit more thinking about who you want to work with. So this is where you're thinking more like, what am I interested in? What do I actually like learning about? And what kind of people do I want to be working with? Where you already have experience may come into play here. If you know that there's a low friction area where you can bring your skills into the market, you've already got proof, that's definitely something to consider. And I've noticed that this is the part of niching that freelancers really get stuck with because it's not just like a super simple prescription like I just did where it's like, okay, find the service, figure out who needs it. This is you actually just having to do some self-reflection and think about what you want to be known for, what space you want to build your business in. But the beautiful thing about that is that there's no wrong answer and you are allowed to change your mind later on. And I know that because I have done that a few times. The important thing is that you just pick something to get started because the sooner you get started, the sooner you can build momentum. And that's actually something I noticed through my pivots is I didn't really lose momentum. I just evolved my services and my client base and everything was really low friction along the way. Okay, you've got your skills, your service, your ideal client, and the final piece of this flywheel is where the magic really happens. Because once you have a few retainer clients, you're hitting your income goal, you are rocking and rolling, you're getting results for your clients, you are going to find yourself in this position where the work starts to feel easier. I know it can feel overwhelming when you're first getting started, but I promise the work feels easier once you find your groove, especially because you're delivering the same service to all of your clients. Remember, your signature service. And so because you're doing the same thing with all your clients, you're able to systemize. And those systems are going to allow you to work faster so that you can make more money in less time. And I actually found that I was able to bring on more clients and make more money once I started building that momentum. Now, I also mentioned that you're going to be, working with clients, you're going to be able to get results with clients. That's one of the beautiful things about working with the same clients long term. You get to know each other really well. You really can integrate yourself more into their business in a way where you're able to just get them results more efficiently and really help them move the needle. And because of that, a couple of really awesome things happen. Number one, you can raise your rates because there's measurable results to what you're doing. And number two, if a client does need to cancel, which does happen, and it's not always your fault, hopefully it's not your fault. There's lots of factors that can contribute to that. But when a cancellation does happen, you are then in a position to lean a little more on referrals as opposed to other more high energy, high output methods of getting clients like your outreach and your networking and all of that. And I am a living testament to this because I have not had to do any outreach in the last 3 years. And I have lost a client here and there, kept basically the core client base that I've had for many years. But in the times when I have lost a client, I've been able to replace them really easily. So once this final piece clicked into place where I was with clients long enough to get them results and I was able to refine my systems and my workflows, everything just got easier. And now that you have this system, you can start building your momentum. And once you are ready to start attracting your ideal clients, there are 4 things that you need to do to move them from interested to ready to sign a contract. I break all that down in this video, so go check that out if you want the full framework that makes signing clients for your high-ticket services easier.